Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for a model update. Not necessarily a reveal. Admittedly, only one engine you see today is actually done, but more on the side of this is what's on the workbench and being made as we speak. When I was younger, one of my favorite things to do was watch Scarloey fans model updates, or go to Brendan Reese or Jaden247's channel and see the things they're doing. And I also was a huge fan of UC Weapon, who himself had a series called The Modification Station. Kinda inspired from all of that, today I'd like to make a video showcasing the projects I have going on, which just so happen to be 3 in 00 scale, or technically 2 since one is already done, but I may add more to them later. And on that note, let's start with that one. Ladies and gentlemen, I recently updated 2308, though not really with anything too serious. At first it was a Jamesification, giving him brass accents and different James-like features, but inevitably, you know me, I wanted to weather him and decided to do just that. For this one in specific, I used a mix of black and brown powders, since I imagine this model is either in or from wartime, a situation where there wouldn't be a lot of time for a washdown. So instead, he's covered with soot, gunpowder, coal dust, just a lot of built-up grime. And I also decided to give him a real coal load finally, which honestly in itself was a instant upgrade. After weathering the body and tinder so much, it didn't feel right for him to have a face that was so clean. So the original face was repainted in a light gray, and then dusted on the top with black spray paint. This just in very small bursts to make it look like he needed his firebox cleaned. And just as a nod to his future self, added a little bit of red paint on his tinder.
He's the Mad Bomber.
You didn't hear that. While at this point I'm calling James or 2308 complete, I still may go back and add some more dust, different details, but that aside, he is now upgraded, and in my opinion looks a bit more fitting to pull the consist he soon will pull. And speaking of consist, even though it won't be a part of that one, I recently decided to make a Bruno, and started work on doing that. Now, Bruno is probably the one I have the least to show of, since currently I'm waiting on a new body. The only thing he is a chassis. But I will tell you how I made that chassis. In my modeling or alternate universe, Bruno will be a bobber caboose. That for 2 reasons. 1, it was the one I had on hand, and 2, there is no better caboose. Cope, deal with it, I don't care. And to make that chassis, or Britishify it, I took off all couplings, removed the wheels, and immediately sanded down the front ends. This is where his buffer beam would go, so I tried my best to get them as smooth as I could. Once those were sanded, I painted the entire thing a matte black, and then got to work on the buffer beams, which were sourced from a Peckett. These were primed in white and then painted yellow, and pretty quickly attached to the front and back ends. Currently only one side has 3 links, and I'm not sure if I'll do that on both sides yet. Part of me is still tempted to try a hook and loop, but admittedly this is the easier option, so chances are both sides will probably have just that. I'm still deciding on a livery and what to do for the face, but essentially I'm hoping to make a take on Bruno that's a bit more realistic. The exact same character from All Engines Go, just maybe in a model series sense. But that sadly is all we have on Bruno for now. Next up we have a model that is basically done, and that is the H1, which will be my take on Molly. Now, if you saw the YouTube short I made a while ago, you may know this thing was going to be Gordon, and that's because when I was gifted this last Christmas, my grandfather jokingly called it Gordon. That said, it really wasn't the most fitting, at least in my mind, for what Gordon is, and I may or may not have gotten a better idea. But I had also been on a hit era kick, and with that came inspiration for my favorite yellow engine, and a new life for the H1 model. Now, this is not an exact model of Molly, and don't worry, that's not the point. Again, this is more of an AU thing, and to explain it in simpler terms, I really like Atlantics, I really like Molly, 2 + 2 = 4. And the reason she's so dirty comes down to where she works. In the TV series, Molly just kinda shows up and then disappears again. And in my mind, that means she works somewhere we don't often see. One of my favorite locations on Sodor is the coal mine. So in my mind, or alternate universe, she works there, playing a quiet but essential role to the railway. Ultimately, I decided not to line her or do anything too complex. 1, out of fear of ruining the model, and 2, like I've said 100 times before, lining to me is kinda 50-50. Sometimes it takes away from the model, and the take I have on Sodor I try to keep a bit more realistic. Of course, I grew up in the United States, so the trains were a lot different. But every time I saw a steam engine growing up, it never had lining. Most early railways did not add lining to their steam engines. If I were Sir Topham Hatt, I probably wouldn't either. Lining takes up a lot of time and I'm lazy. So honestly, I think I can live without it. Personally, I enjoy a simpler look. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been my 3 model projects as of recently. Molly is very soon to be done, she only needs a face. 2308 pretty much is never done, sadly. And Bruno has quite a bit to go. But at the very least, I hope this gets you excited for their reveal videos, and maybe inspired you to kit back up and start whatever project you have going on. Maybe you're like me and have ADHD and have to do 3 at the same time to get 1 done. Or maybe you just need that extra kick to finish whatever you have going on. Either way, just know, I'm rooting for you. And as always, guys, thanks again for watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Damn, I haven't said that in a while.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.